This video is all about what you can and maybe should be doing before you go out for your run. So I did a video, you've probably already seen it, for cycling. You could also do any of those. So very similar muscles working, but I'm just giving you something different that you can do for going out when you're going to do a run. So let's go ahead and take our yoga tune-up balls, and we're going to start with them at least inside of our tote. So just make sure when they're in there, you lock it down so the balls don't go flying out. So as I mentioned in the last video, the glutes are a big powerhouse. That's something I absolutely recommend you do frequently. So that will definitely get you going. But of course, the quads and the hamstrings are absolutely involved when you're running and when you're cycling, but this is all about running today. So you're going to take your two balls inside their tote and place it on the top of your thigh. We're going to lay down on our belly in a second. Now, if you don't have the yoga tune-up set up, a couple of tennis balls inside a sock, lock it down, and you'll be all set. So we're going to go ahead and start. I'll say on your left side. So place the balls right above your knee on your left thigh. So place them there, and you can play with how you want to set your upper body up. Sometimes laying down will feel better in your back. Sometimes lifting up is fine. So you might have a little bit more mobility to move around if you're up on your elbows, but if it hurts your back to come up like that, then don't do it. So we'll start with some bending and straightening of the leg. So you'll feel that in all the tissue in and around the knee. So I'm not on top of the knee, I am above it. And then I might go side to side like this. And then I'll move my way up from there, and I can just, again, bend and straighten, and then some side to side movement. And I start to continue to work my way up the thigh. Now, if I do not have the balls, but I have a roller, I could do something similar. So I could be here, bend and straighten, and I can do some cross fiber work here also. Bend and straighten, and some cross fiber work. And I can work my way up from there. Side to side, bend and straighten, side to side, and we bend and we straighten. And again, working my way all the way up. Now, if none of that feels like it's doing enough for you, and remember, more is not necessarily better, you might take a single ball and place it on the top of your thigh. Now, that's going to be a lot more intense, so be careful. It also can be a little precarious because if you go side to side, the ball might roll out from underneath your legs, so take it slow and easy. Just know you might be chasing the ball down. And then again, we bend and straighten, and we do some side to side. And now eventually I like to just iron it all out. So whether it's with the single ball, the double ball, or the foam roller, we roll up and down, up and down. I call it kind of ironing it all out. And again, be careful. This is going to be pretty intense. Check in with your breath. All the tissue, inner part of the quadricep, outer part of the quadricep. I might even roll a little bit to the side and get more of the inner thigh, and that could be with the roller, could be with the ball or the double ball. So moving around in there, getting close to my knee. Now that works if you're using the ball. It won't work as well up on towards the upper inner thigh unless you're using the roller or a couple of balls on top of a block. So right here I'm getting not very much pressure. So using the roller is going to work better for this, or as I mentioned, a ball or two balls on top of a yoga block or some books or something that lifts the balls up so you get enough pressure on the inner thigh. And as I mentioned, this could be also used before you go out to do your cycling. So I just wanted to give you a couple of videos that weren't too long that you could use, and you could use them intermittently here and there, but I recommend as often as you can before you cycle. So again, you could use this anytime before you cycle, before you run, before you do your workout. Okay, so I'm going to move now to my other side. So we're on top of the right thigh now. I'm going to put my balls back in here, start off that way, and it's on top of my right thigh above my knee. And we bend and we straighten, bend and straighten, some side to side movements. And I've said this before, I'll say it again, and so many of these things we just need to be reminded of. So 90 seconds is about the minimum for any particular part of the body. The quads are pretty large, so I would definitely recommend a minimum of 90 seconds. You can work your way up to 5 minutes in an area. And you'll notice that if you do it frequently, so 5 minutes, anywhere between 90 seconds and 5 minutes every day or every other day, you're going to see some change happen in the quality of the tissue. Hopefully getting, as I call it, unstuck. And when those tissues are unstuck, they work better for you. And remember, you could absolutely use your foam roller as well. And doing some cross fiber, some bend and straighten, and then eventually rolling it all out. I call it ironing it out. Inner, outer, roll leg in and out. And then eventually some inner thigh as well. Do some movement of this leg as well, internal, external rotation. And so even some cross fiber work here. So get intuitive, like listen to your body. There is no wrong unless you're having sharp pain or numbness. And again, if you can't take a deep breath, I recommend moving it to a slightly different location. So just listen to that. Okay. So the next one I have for you, I'm just going to go grab my chair. So the hamstrings. So the hamstrings definitely get involved here. When we do our running, your hamstrings work. Cycling too, well, they're probably, either one of these programs can be used for either activity. Taking the ball, placing it right where my hamstring meets my glute. And then I can simply press in and release, press in and release. Now I'm using a chair, and this works great for me because of my height. Now, if you are taller, which probably almost all of you are, you might want a little bit higher, like a bar stool or something so you can move your leg around is the point. So eventually I'm going to start moving this leg around side to side. It might still work for you on a chair depending on how long your legs are. I'm moving my legs side to side and bending and straightening. And then I start to move the ball down. So I'm going to go ahead and work it all the way from where my glute and my hamstring connect until I'm right, again, above the knee. So today it's a lot of quads, the whole thigh really, inner thigh, outer thigh a little bit, top of the thigh, and now we're getting the back of the thigh, the back of your leg. Bend and straighten, I can make some circles. And eventually, again, working down, so I'm right above the knee. Now this can be a little delicate, so please be careful here also. So I'm maybe about 3 inches above my knee, so not right by my knee. Bend and straighten, Putting my leg out a little bit, getting more of the outer part of my hamstring. And I can turn my leg in a little bit. Lean and get a little funky with my lean here. Inner part of my hamstring. And then I'll switch sides. So right where my hamstring meets my glute, and then straighten, side to side, cross fiber. So work my way down. And you take your time on these. So if you need more time, you take it. So if I move on, you need more time, you take it. So just pause the video and you start it again when you're ready to move on. Bring it down, more like the belly of my hamstring right now. And now I'm about 3 inches above my knee. Okay, so I'm going to move on and I'm going to be addressing the upper part of your hip flexor. So most people don't know that their hip flexors actually connect their thigh to their torso. So upper and lower body are connected through this very large group called the psoas, and it actually connects not only up to your hip, but up all the way to where your sternum is, right up here by your spine. So thigh and upper body connected all the way through here. So sometimes the issue isn't even where most of us think of as our hip flexor, which is right here. It might be above that, especially if we do a lot of bracing, if we sit a lot, do a lot of crunches, this can get very tight. And glutes, I mentioned, big powerhouse, but your hip flexors, oh my gosh, super important in terms of really giving you power to move. So if those are tight, you're going to have some issues. So I'm going to take this smaller ball and I'm going to lay it on my belly. So it's going to go off to one side. So here's the middle of my belly button. I'm taking it over to the right side. So it is above my hip bone and below my rib cage. So my hip bone is right here. I'm going to place it right above my hip bone and I'm going to lay down. So on the right side, I'm going to lay down. So right above my hip bone. And first I might just simply breathe. A deep breath, and as I exhale, the ball will melt in to my body. Now the ball that I have here is definitely a little squishy. So I definitely am not trying to put a lot of pressure on my organs. There's organs in there. So make sure that if you get a ball about this size, that you let a little bit of air out of it. You could also do this both sides at the same time with one of the Pilates balls that I use a lot. And that works great too. This is going to be a little more intense because it's smaller and it's all the way onto one side. So it's really all of my pressure is on one side instead of it being distributed between two sides. So I can start to move my way up and it might even end up close to my rib cage. Some deep breaths. And I check in again. If it's too intense, move it up or down a little. And then I might start to do some movements with my leg. I could do some of that bend and straighten again. I could just lift the leg up and down. I can rock my body side to side. All of these will affect the tissue in there. Deep breath in, long breaths out. If I sit up, it's going to be a little bit more intense. Check in with the breath. So I'm gonna move to the other side. So I'm gonna move it over to the left side now, right above my hip bone. And again, I could lay down. You do some movement with my leg. I can rock side to side. I can lift. I can even see what it feels like to lift the other side. So let's see what it feels like. This isn't intended to be an exercise, so be careful you don't turn it into something super active right now anyway. And again, just side to side, take some deep breaths. I might start to move it a little closer to my rib cage now. And deep breathing. Possibly sitting up. Okay. All right. So I'm done with the releasing part of the routine here. So we're going to go ahead and stretch dynamically the hip flexors now. So hip flexors again, we're here, and it goes all the way up. So you're going to step your right foot forward, my left knee is down. Please be on a cushioned surface on your left knee. Pelvic tilt, so I'm tucking under. You can even see the words down here. Tuck under, okay? So now my left arm reaches, so if I'm on my left knee, my left arm reaches. And then I'm going to turn to the left and lean to the right. And then I'll just come out. So I want this to be a bit dynamic, so I'm not just going to hold this. So I keep the pelvic tilt, I keep turning to the left, lean to the right, come out. If that is pinchy at all in my back, I might see which portion turns it into a pinch. So if I just need to stay here and just reach my arm up and then release and then do it again, that's fine. If I'm able to hold this and turn, or maybe I'm able to do the whole thing. Okay, so check in with your back over and over. Left glute squeezing tight. If I need some support, I could certainly hold on with my other hand. Good. And then we'll switch sides. So my right knee is down. I do a pelvic tilt. I tuck under. My right hand reaches. I turn to the right and I lean to the left. And then I come out. And I lean to the left. And then I come out. And I lean to the left. And then I come out. Tucking under, squeezing my right glute. And one more time. All right. But I did this in the last video, and it's such a good one to do. So just getting loosey-goosey. I'm barely coming off the ground if I'm coming off the ground at all. I'm just shaking it out, shaking it out. So if you've ever been on one of those vibe plates that vibrates, stimulates the whole system, this is doing something similar. All right. So you have a great day. See how that works for you.